Welcome to Who is Leading the Labor Movement? Teach your staff to recruit and organize without uncertainty. Hello, everyone. My name is Pablo Murillo, and I am from Genesis Leadership Trainings, and I am excited that you are here listening to this message. Let's begin with a testimonial. A lot of the concepts I'm going to share with you today are new and are not being used in the labor movement. A lot of the concepts that I will share with you are not being used specifically the way that I am using them to train our staff and to train our union member leaders. So pay close attention, because this concept, though they may sound different than what we are doing at this moment, they do work. And that's the only reason why I want to share with you this couple of testimonials, so you can see what member leaders are saying after they go through my courses. Brenda Brown, for example, she is a board of directors at UTLA, at the United Teachers Los Angeles. She says, "This is awesome training, and it will forever impact the direction in my leadership role and in my life." Imagine if you could provide training to your staff, your member leaders, your stewards, your chairs, and they can say, "That training changed my life." Imagine being able to do that. How would your union function? How would it change the leadership in your union? This is another one. This one comes from Salina Joyner, Moreno Valley Educators Association. She is an executive director. Pablo Murillo was instrumental in making our union social justice forum a success. He was charged with motivating our site reps to move beyond regular bread and butter representation to being a steward that supports social justice issues impacting the broader community. Mr. Murillo helped us develop a conference that both inspired and pushed participants to engage in difficult yet meaningful conversations. Throughout the process of working with Mr. Murillo, he made himself 100% available for questions, was well organized, incredibly passionate, that's right, and took time out of his personal schedule to provide me with coaching, which took my leadership to the next level. I will not hesitate to work with him again. Salina Joyner, Executive Director. I live to see the light bulb turn on in union leaders when they realize there is a better way, a faster way, when they see the door that they can walk through to reach their next level in their leadership performance. That's what I live for. That's what gives me energy to keep going. If you're a union officer, chief of staff, or a director, then this message is for you. This is going to help you understand how to help your staff or member leaders achieve organizing goals, leader recruitment, and establishing worksite leadership structures or contract action teams. This is one of the major challenges unions have. Let's admit it. I haven't seen a union yet that has a worksite structure in every single place. And there are many reps out there right now struggling trying to establish worksite structures. The fact that you haven't been able to get your staff to perform at a higher level is not your fault, because for the last 30 years, you have been using the same training methods and approaches to organizing. Today, you will realize why the traditional way of organizing does not serve your teams and why you, as a union officer, chief of staff, or director, need to change. We keep training our staff and member leaders on the same methods from 30 years ago. Don't we have any new ideas? If you have been looking for a smarter, faster way to build the confidence of your staff and explode in their leadership performance, then this is for you. You will get my 3-pillar approach to recruit and establish worksite leadership structures. At the end, just a heads up, if you stay until the end, you have the opportunity to get a free leadership assessment session to decide how you can help your staff or member leaders develop their leadership. This session is valued at $500, but because you are here listening and I know you're looking for answers, this will be free of charge to you. I am going to invest my own time to meet with you to do this assessment. You don't have to pay me any money. I just want to talk to you about how you can help your team become better. We only have limited amount available. I don't have an unlimited amount of team members to do this one-on-ones for free. I will do this for a limited time, so make sure that you book your spot. So what's going on? Up until now, what new approach to organizing have you taught your staff? I want you to think of what new approach have you trained them on to be able to organize and recruit leaders better? Has there been a new approach that you have been able to train them on? Or are you using the same approach that we have been using for the last 30 years, which is under that traditional approach to organizing. Think about it. How come we haven't changed and done something better and newer to reflect the new challenges that we have today? Here is why you have been following the wrong method. Number one, you have been training them on doing the work without working on growing their mindset. Many union training programs focus on do it like this, do it like this, do it like this. Nothing wrong with learning how to do it, but more important than doing it is the mindset the leader has before engaging in the activities. And we completely ignore that part of the trainings. Number two, you have been training them on doing the work, but have neglected growing their leadership identity. The mindset of a leader is key to succeed in their leadership. After that, developing the leadership identity of the individual and the leadership identity of the team. It is key to reach their success. This is the way they see themselves. How do you develop a leadership view for one person, and how do you develop a leadership view for themselves as a team? That has a huge impact on how they perform. Number three, you have been asking them to organize work sites without a step-by-step system with predictable results. You have been telling folks, hey, we got these organizing goals. Let's go organize, let's go recruit. And then you send them out there. With what method? How? I know that when we get hired into the unions, frankly, nobody's put to the test. We look at the resume, we look at the way they've been, the years they have been working, and then we just send them out. And we think and assume that they know how to organize, that they are effective at recruiting, that they are impactful when they speak. And sometimes, a lot of times, the reps are not. They're not equipped to do those things. Maybe they're great in representation. Maybe they're great in filing grievances, following through with phone calls, but it doesn't mean that they're good at standing in front of the room and being able to recruit people and develop their leadership. We send them out and we let them figure it out. How about, instead of doing that, how about you as a chief of staff, director, or person in charge of the training program, how about you give them a system that they can follow step by step that will give them predictable results when they organize? How about that for an alternative? So here's what I'm going to take you through today. Number one, we're going to take you through the 3 pillars, how you can develop and explode the leadership performance of your team. Number one, the mindset. Is your staff success conscious or failure conscious? I've been a staff member for 26 years. I've been a supervisor in some of the unions, and I also been a staff member. I know this. Most times after you, the director, or whoever tells us, let's go and organize this, I know that talk that happens after the meeting where we, the reps, discuss, well, how do they expect us to do this? It's a lot of work size. It's a lot of people to recruit. It's not enough time. You know what that is called? That is called failure conscious. That's what I'm talking about, the mindset. Many reps lose the battle before they even go out there because their mind gravitates towards all the challenges that they're going to be facing in organizing, rather than being success conscious, which is driving your mind to understand all the reasons why you can succeed reaching those organizing goals. I've been in those conversations many times after the meetings. A strong mindset is a must for a team to succeed. Union trainings have completely omitted this area. How do you expect leadership teams, your reps, your member leaders to perform at a higher level than in the past if you don't help them develop their mindset? Number two, leadership identity. To recruit at a higher level and establish worksite structures faster, your staff must develop a stronger leadership identity. How do they see themselves? Simple question you can ask them. How many of you are recruiters? Raise your hand and watch how many of them raise their hands. It will not be all of them. Maybe some of them. Maybe some of them think that they're recruiters, but most of them wouldn't even think that they are. So how do you expect them to be great recruiters if their leadership identity as a recruiter is not connected to how they see themselves? This is just one small example how leadership identity is key and must be developed for your team and your reps to succeed. And the third one, the Quick Start Worksite Structure System, the QSWS system. It will give you a predictable step-by-step system so your staff and member leaders can increase recruitment and establishing leadership structures. You may think, Well, it may take a lot of time to learn a new system. I don't know. This system is going to save you lots of time down the road because it's predictable and it takes the uncertainty out of organizing. Why should you listen to me? The reason why so many people trust me is because I come from the trenches. I've been there organizing hotel workers, hospital workers, county workers, city workers, state workers, you name it, sanitation workers, janitors. I have organized all kinds of employees and I understand the challenges in organizing. I've been doing this for 26 years and I have been able to look at the challenges that I experienced in organizing and I was able to recreate my approach to organizing those workers until I figured out how to make the systems work faster, quicker, and more effectively. I know exactly what your team is going through right now. I know how they feel. I had the same problem. I used to worry about how to recruit, how to establish a workspace structure, how to get members to sign for COPE, how to get members to come to precinct walking, etc. None of those things worry me anymore. You know why? Because I have a system for each one of those challenges. I have a new approach to deal with the old challenges. So let's talk about pillar number one, the mindset. So we can go into more detail. This is the mistake chief of staffs, directors, and union officers are making, thinking that by training more on skills, the teams will get a better result. To recruit and establish worksite structures easily, your team needs to understand how to condition their minds, drive it to successful thinking and action. The ability for your staff to control and drive their minds will be reflected in their level of enthusiasm, their level of confidence when they speak, their body language, and their ability to transfer belief to others when they speak. It is the difference between great teams and teams that quit before the battle begins. And the example I share with you, the inner language, the inner talk that some of our staff and many of our staff and union leaders have is a defeating talk because it gravitates towards the challenges that I know are there, but focusing on those challenges completely curtails their drive and confidence to achieve and reach the organizing goals that you have as a union. How about we help them understand to drive their minds just like they drive their cars to go from point A to point B? That's the mindset part. How many of you have ever experienced going out on strike? If you're a chief of staff, director, or in charge of a union program, I'm sure you have one or a couple or maybe more experiences. Or how do we talk to members when we're going on strike? Do we say to them, we're going to go on strike and we don't know if we're going to win, but we should give it a shot? Do we say that? No, of course not. Although we may not know the outcome of the strike, we focus on success 100%. And we instill belief into people. We don't focus on the fact that the strike may be a failure in the end. We do everything to make sure that the systems are in place so that we can get the results that we intend to have. And that is the only focus that we have. This is the mindset that we must apply to organizing, though. This is the mindset that our staff and member leaders need to have every day when they go out to perform their duties. And many of them just don't have it because we, as union training programs, have not provided it to them. So doing more without the proper mindset is a losing proposition. We win in our minds first, then externally second. The old method versus the new method is the difference between the way that I do my work now and the way that I used to do my work 15, 20 years ago. The old method didn't help me drive my mindset, didn't even talk about it. My new method is the one that helps me now to understand that I become what I think about. My life is reflective of the words that I use, and the quality of leadership that I have is a product of the quality of my inner talk. And that's what we need to help our staff understand. Leadership identity. The mistake unions are making is neglecting the development of the leadership identity of their teams. We don't even talk about it. When was the last time you had a training on leadership identity? Have you ever attended a union training where they talk about leadership identity? Probably not. In 26 years, I have never attended one. We must change how we see ourselves so that the way we look at ourselves changes. The most powerful force in the human spirit is to be congruent with one's identity. Simple example that I share with you. If you see all your union staff in a room and member leaders, and you ask them, how many public speakers are in the house? Raise your hand. Watch how many raise their hands. Not many. But yet, public speaking is at the center of everything that we do. Whether we're running a meeting, a grievance hearing, an appeal, an organizing meeting, a one-on-one, you name it. It is at the core. It's a basic skill that we must have, being able to be impactful public speakers. But yet, our staff does not see themselves as public speakers. So ask yourself this, chief of staff, director, union officer, how effective can a person be as a public speaker if they do not see themselves as a public speaker? How will that work? It will not work. And that's the reason why many of our staff stand in front of a room full of members and they don't understand why they're not signing the cards. They don't understand why they're not recruiting more leaders. They don't understand why they're not getting members to contribute $20 on COPE or to the political fund, because they do not understand how to be an impactful speaker. We're not just union staff and member leaders. We are the sources of belief. We are public speakers. We are the shoulder that other people need to cry on. We are the source of information for others, etc., etc. All these are different phases of the leadership identity. And we must help our staff connect with that leadership identity, because the most powerful force in the human spirit is to be congruent with one's identity. If you want to change the results that your staff are getting right now, you cannot do it with just more training on skills. You got to work on changing their leadership identity. Number 3, the Quick Start worksite structure. The Challenge Union training programs are having right now all across the United States is that they keep following the old method of organizing or no system at all. What does the old method of organizing say? It says to go into a worksite, identify natural leaders or centers of influence, build a relationship with those folks, and eventually down the road, ask the question to see if we can get them more involved in their union. I tried that approach many times, and 9 times out of 10, it does not work. And I have to start all over with somebody else who I think may be a center of influence or natural leader. Or the other approach is just go into the worksite, try to talk to as many people as possible, see who may seem like they may want to be involved, build a relationship with those folks, and then eventually ask them to get involved. Again, it requires time. Down the road, sometimes you may recruit them, but you just don't know. This organizing approach and premise is faulty. You know why? Because the fact that somebody is a center of influence or natural leader does not automatically make them pro-union. So why do we invest our time into somebody who has not at all given us a commitment to be a union activist? Why do we do that? That's a faulty premise to begin with and to build our organizing approach around. I'm sure it's convenient when it works, right? All the followers come into the union. But it doesn't work that often. Most of us, staff and member leaders, are left with no system at all. The QSWS system will give you a duplicatable recipe. It will give you a step-by-step system that your reps and member leaders can follow like a recipe. And if you follow it one by one, step by step, guess what? You will get the result at the end of the meeting that we're looking for and be able to surpass any of your organizing goals that you have in the past. You may think, but this is not the way we do it. I never heard of this. Well, that's right. You haven't heard about it because nobody is doing it. Nobody is teaching it in the country. And this is a new approach that works. Pay attention, because this is the new approach that can revive our labor movement. So most chief of staff, directors, or union officers are thinking that by training on more skills, your staff and member leaders will get better results. We completely are disregarding trainings on developing leadership identity. And we're asking the staff and member leaders to organize faster, quicker, and better with the same old system from decades ago. So the 3-pillar overview, the mindset. We cannot win in the external world if we don't have winning thoughts and if we don't have an inner voice that speaks in winning terms. That's what we need to help our staff understand. Number 2, leadership identity. You are going to perform and engage in the behaviors according to how you see yourself. Our staff has a disconnect with facets of their leadership identity, whether it's being a recruiter, or being a public speaker. We must help them connect those dots so that their behavior will be congruent to that identity. And number three, the Quick Start Worksite Structure System, the QSWS system, which will give you a step-by-step system how to organize and recruit leaders and establish a leadership worksite structure in 4 to 6 weeks. You hear me? 4 to 6 weeks. I've done it as fast as 4 weeks, as long as 6 weeks. But that's a lot better than 3 months down the road and not even knowing if you're going to have a leadership team in place at the worksite. Now you know the biggest problem that is stopping your staff and your member leaders from recruiting more leaders and establishing worksite leadership structures is not having the right mindset, leadership identity, and not having a predictable system to organize. At the beginning, I remember telling you, if you're a chief of staff, director, or union officer, you're not at fault because your staff hasn't been able to perform at a higher level, because you have been using whatever people are using out there for the last 20, 30 years. But now you know that there is somebody out here saying that we have a better way, a quicker way. So now it is your responsibility to make sure that you take action and help your staff. Before you didn't know, but now you do know. Whose responsibility is it to give your staff and member leaders the tools to succeed in their leadership endeavors? Whose responsibility is it? It is yours. You are the one leading the labor movement. All of you chief of staffs, directors, supervisors, people in charge of our training programs in the unions, when it comes down to it, you are leading this labor movement. People like myself, staff, we go out there and do what you tell us to do. And we do it as good as we can based on the training that you give us. It is pivotal that you take action. What if it's true what I'm saying? What if I can completely change the performance of your leadership team? What if it's true? Isn't it worth looking into it? Here's how you can fix the challenges your team is having right now. I'm ready to offer you a union leadership assessment session. It will be a one-to-one leadership assessment session so we can speak about the challenges your team has, and I can give you the best approach that you can have to give them the tools for them to succeed. It will help you fix the key problems stopping them from reaching their leadership and organizing goals. You will know the steps to take so that your leaders can recruit and establish worksite structures in 4 to 6 weeks. And if you have other challenges, whether it's in the political fund recruitment or whatever it may be, representational challenges, we can do anything. We can do it all. So your free union leadership assessment session will give you a lot of things. You will get an idea of what the challenges are that are stopping your staff and member leaders, and you will have some steps and solutions for you to implement some new avenues for them to perform at a higher level. This is for chief of staffs, directors, or union officers or supervisors who are serious about improving the performance of their staff. If you're not serious about that, then don't worry about it. This is not for you. But if you're somebody trying to find a better way because you realize that everything that we've been doing doesn't work, then this is for you. You can book the session by just clicking on the link below. This session is gonna be personally done by me. I wanna hear your challenges. I wanna hear how it is that you are dealing with those challenges and give you the best approach that you can have to succeed with your team. You have a problem, we have solutions. It doesn't matter if it's recruiting, public speaking, generating more volunteers, establishing worksite structures, getting more members to contribute to the political fund, whatever you need, we got solutions for every single one of those things. A new approach that nobody is teaching. If you think that after we speak, I bring value and give you some tangible tools for you to use, and you think that we may be able to work together, then we can supply you continued support. Now, if you book this, keep your commitment. For those of you who are chief of staff, directors, and supervisors, obviously, you are at a higher level of leadership. A leader says what they'll do, and they do what they said. So if you're going to book this appointment, please keep your commitment because I will make the time to be there. Make sure that you are there. We have only limited spaces. As I said, I don't have a bunch of people helping me do this. So book your time now because I will now do this forever. The link is below. Click on that and schedule it. So now you have a choice. Number one, You can do this alone the same way that you've been doing it. Continue doing what you already know is not working. Failing to provide your staff and member leaders with new tools to do the organizing we desperately need. Keep letting your staff and member leaders struggle setting up leadership worksite structures. They don't tell you this, but they do get stressed. They do get bogged down. They do get frustrated. They just don't know how to do the work better. Letting your staff and member leaders drown in the stress of not reaching their leadership goals. Does that sound like a winning formula? Choice number 2, the easy new way. Book your free union leadership assessment session. What do you have to lose? I won't even charge you. And remember, it's value of $500, but I'm not charging anything for it. Learn what you need to do to improve your team's leadership. Understand how to provide your staff and member leaders with the tools they need to succeed. Help teach your staff to develop a stronger mindset and leadership identity to change their results. Teach your staff a new system to organize, recruit leaders, and establish worksite structures. This is my backstory. I wanted to be able to recruit leaders, establish worksite leadership structures with a step-by-step predictable system, so I would not stress anymore and build real union power. I couldn't do it. I worked really hard. I tried my best, but I ran into these problems. Not being able to recruit members fast enough, not having a clear step-by-step system to organize a worksite using the traditional trainings I had. It took me forever to establish a worksite structure. I visited the worksites all the time because I understood that visibility was key, but I didn't have the belief system to think that I could do it. I didn't have a step-by-step system to follow with predictable results. So I just kept fumbling, doing the best that I could. This made me feel terrible. And like I said, staff don't tell you this. We just deal with it. I felt that I could not be an effective leader. I felt that I was a failure, not being able to help the members and the families that I wanted to help. I did not have the money to be able to pay for someone to help me learn something new. And the trainings that I was being provided at the unions that I work for, frankly, they were not helpful. I kept hitting the same challenges time and time again. There must be an easier way. And you know what? I realized nobody was coming to help me after all those years of trying. So I began designing a new approach. I took it upon myself to experiment with the way I was doing the work. And then I developed a new system to drive my mind, understanding the challenges that I was creating in my mind, understanding how to remove them first from my mind. And later I saw how they got removed from the external world that I organized in. I developed my leadership identity and a system that I could use to predict my results. I took action. Doing nothing was not a choice anymore. I was tired of being tired. If it did not work, at least I was trying something new with new hopes, rather than keep doing the same thing that I already knew it didn't work. I was willing to put forth the effort and become a better union leader. At the end of the day, that is the one question that I have for all of you. Are you putting the effort behind that? Because I know people say that, but they don't put the work behind that. I tested and refined my ideas and approaches, meeting after meeting, fine-tuning my approach. Finally, I arrived at a set of steps that I used and was able to predict my recruitment of leaders and establishing worksite structures. It was a brand new day in my leadership. Nobody has a system like this, and it is my goal to teach it to as many unions as possible. I have researched all across this country, and nobody is teaching anything close to it. Everybody's still stuck in training the same old ideas from 30 years ago. The biggest problem that is stopping your staff from recruiting more leaders faster and establishing worksite leadership structures is not having the right mindset, leadership identity, and not having a predictable system to organize. Here's how you can fix that right now. Book your free union leadership assessment session. Book it right now. Click below. That's all you have to do. It will be a one-on-one leadership assessment session. Value of $500, but it will be free because you're listening to this message. Let me know what the challenges are that your team is having. What are the marks that you are missing? And then we can help you fix the key problems stopping your staff and your team from reaching those leadership and organizing goals. Fix the key problems stopping you and your staff and your member leaders from reaching their leadership and organizing goals. Use this assessment to help your staff and member leaders to recruit leaders faster and establish worksite structures. Imagine if you could provide that possibility for your teams. Imagine them actually achieving that level of performance. How will you feel about it? All you got to do is click where it says book your free union leadership assessment session. If all this did was help your staff and member leaders just achieve more recruitment or leaders, if all this did was to help your staff and member leaders become more impactful communicators to influence an audience to take action, if all this did was help your staff and member leaders to set up worksite structures at will, if all this did was help your staff and member leaders give them more confidence on their leadership, would it be worth it for your union? Would it be worth it for you, chief of staff, director, person in charge of the training program for the member leaders and staff? Would it be worth it for you if you could do just one of these things for your team? You can do all of them, all of them. We can help you, help them recruit more leaders faster, become a more impactful communicator to influence audiences to take action, set up worksite structures at will, and give them that confidence that they are looking for in their leadership. We can do all of those, but are you really leading your union, or are you just managing our last days existing? Remember, a manager just manages that direction, even though that direction may be towards the end and the bottom of the barrel. A leader changes direction and has vision, has courage to try something new because he or she knows that something needs to change. Who is leading the labor movement? As I said, it is you, chief of staffs, directors, person in charge of the training programs. You are the leaders of this movement. You gotta make the right choices and give the tools to your staff and member leaders to succeed. We have no time to waste. So book your union leadership assessment session. It'll be a one-on-one conversation with me. Value of $500, free for you. Learn to fix the key problems stopping your staff and your member leaders from reaching their leadership and organizing goals. Know how to help them so that they can recruit faster and establish worksite structures faster than ever before. All you gotta do is click on there and book your appointment, right? Make sure that you keep your commitment. We have no time to waste. The labor movement is disappearing each day. Every day it gets smaller and smaller. We are at 10.3% density. When are we gonna change what we're doing? We have a solution to do something new to deal with the old challenges. My name is Pablo Murillo. I hope to meet you and talk to you about the possibilities to increase the performance of your team. I am from Genesis Leadership Trainings. See you at the top where the champions belong.